Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Sean's Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you tuning in today. Today, we're talking about a new one, 2026's Hungry. This was a film that I remember hearing about. I finally saw a trailer and was pretty excited because I like these creature feature monster movie type things. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Jaws. There's a lot of shark movies I like. Um, you know, The Shallows, Deep Blue Sea, 47 Meters Down. I like Crawl. I like Lake Placid. I like Piranha. I like a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, when I saw Hippo advertised, I was like, oh, this looks badass. And of course, I remember the game Hungry Hungry Hippo as a kid that this film is somewhat based on. And so I was super excited about this one. And then, I was just talking with a friend of mine the other day, Rob Humphrey from Slasher Radio, and we were talking about this movie. Remember hearing about it when it was coming out, and then suddenly it just vanished. Like I never heard anyone talk about this movie, and I was kind of surprised. But I guess I kind of somewhat forgot about it until I saw it pop up and streaming. And so I'm like, I've got to check this out. So rented it, watched it, took some notes, and yeah, this is going to be interesting to talk about today. So Hungry from 2026. Let me put my glasses on, and we'll go ahead and get right into this one. Tagline for the film: This hippo isn't playing games. Brief synopsis: A group of vacationers must fight for their lives against a rampaging hippo on the loose after becoming lost in the Louisiana swamplands. Film released June 3rd of 2026, directed by James Nunn, distributed by Signature Entertainment, a runtime of 93 minutes. I could not find the budget for this film, but the box office was only almost $390,000, so it did not do well at the box office. Cast for the film: Madison Davenport, Tracy Bonner, Joaquim de Alameda, perhaps is how you say that, not sure, Michael Curiel, Samantha Coughlin, and Olivia Bernstone. Let me stop there for a moment and talk about the cast and the characters for this one. Um, I think the acting's good. The performances are all fine. I don't think anyone does a bad job. Nothing just stood out to me as far as being amazing, but everyone was fine. The characters kind of the same way. The character of I believe Tracy Bonner, and I might be completely wrong if that's the wrong actress. She plays a character named Dion. She's kind of annoying in this. I mean, you somewhat understand when people are in these kind of situations, them being frustrated and difficult and hard to get along with, but she's just incredibly annoying. And in some ways, between her and Rodrigo, the tour guide, it's pretty much their fault that everybody is in the situation that they're in. And then just the way she acts throughout the film, in my opinion, she's the least likable character. She's kind of annoying. Most everybody else is fine. Our primary character, Sistine, good final girl. She's again not great or mind blowing, but she's good. I like Walker, the guy that kind of runs the tour guide place. He's he seems kind of funny and just like a cool little guy. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything's okay. Nothing special here. Nothing that I thought was a huge standout. But it was fine. I like this story. Again, I like these creature feature monster movie type things, so I really like this story. I think this is a cool concept and a cool idea, especially when you look at some of the other stuff we get now. Like Cocaine Bear a couple of years ago. I know a lot of people thought that movie was really funny. I was not a fan. I didn't think it was even funny, so that one didn't really do much for me. But seeing this come out, like I said earlier, I was excited. I thought this looked cool. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie before about a killer hippo, so this could be fun. These kills might be good. I was excited for this, and I like the story. I like the idea of what they're doing here. The cinematography is not bad. There's some good shots. The effects look good for the most part. One of my biggest issue with this movie really falls more in just the execution. I feel like because uh, the kills are very lame. I thought the kills were going to be so much better for this, but the kills are incredibly lame, in my opinion. So I was not a huge fan of the way they did that. Um, Again, I like the concept. I like the idea. I like the story, but I felt like I don't know, the runtime is only 93 minutes for this movie. Towards the end, I was ready for it to be over. I almost felt like it was running a little bit long. I don't hate this movie, but I was just really disappointed. with this one. It was nowhere near as fun as I expected it to be because, I'm not going into this kind of movie thinking that this is going to be a masterpiece or some kind of classic film. Um, I just wanted it to be fun. Like that's what I go into this kind of movie hoping for, and it was kind of mid. It really didn't land for me the way I wanted it to. Somewhere along the way, I'm sure I'll give it a rewatch because I rewatch shit all the time. But I'm sure I'll give it a rewatch and check it out. And maybe now that I know what it is, and I mean, I already know what it was, but now that I've seen it, so the expectations aren't too much. Maybe I'll like it more. It's hard to imagine that my expectations were too high for a movie called Hippo, or for a movie called Hungry about a killer hippo, but they were because I was just expecting this to be a lot of fun, and it was a little bit of a letdown. But don't really have anything as far as the behind the scenes notes, production notes, that kind of stuff. Not much out there for this at all. So we're going to skip that part this week and go ahead and jump right into the plot and start to walk through this a little bit. So let me put my glasses on so I can see my notes. We open this film up with Sistine. She's on vacation with her friend Hannah. Uh, Sistine gets a phone call and we find out that she loses her job, so she's fired. She's also trying to take care of, I think, maybe like of a sick mom. There's some conversation here and there about that. So, she's got a lot going on and she's on vacation with her friend to try to kind of get away and forget everything and enjoy herself for a little bit. They end up meeting this guy named Rodrigo, who does these like alligator swamp tours, and so they're going to go on one of his tours. Um, it's like an alligator riverboat thing there going on in the swamp. We briefly meet Walker, who is Rodrigo's boss, and then the other tourists that are going on this tour with them. There's Dion, Sally, Tim, and Mikey. Um, yeah, basically all we're doing here is setting up the story. We're meeting these characters, getting a little bit of information about each one of them. Again, like I said, Rodrigo's a tour guide. Walker owns the place. Um, Dion is this businesswoman that is there and wants to be able to take pictures and I think send them to like her kids or something to that effect. Um, Sally, she's a nurse. Her son Mikey's there. Her father Tim is there. It's fine. We don't need a lot of backstory on these kind of characters, so we just really kind of need a brief introduction to know maybe who they are and is there anything about them that might be important later. And really, the only part of that we get is a little bit of interaction with Dion, and then finding out Sally's a nurse. Those things are going to come into play. Um, right before the tour begins, Walker is talking a little bit about there were traders who were trying to bring hippos into the area for a long time. Uh, Basically, again, just more setting the story. And then the tour begins. While they're along on the tour, we find out that Dion has paid. They're looking for this famous alligator, Big Ben, this large alligator that's known throughout the area. And we find that Dion has paid Rodrigo extra to try to maybe get off the path to look for this alligator. And for a little while, we get a couple of things where we think, kind of like a lead up, where we think maybe something's going to happen and then doesn't. We get just a couple of those kind of scenes briefly. But then they end up coming across Big Ben's mutilated carcass, kind of shocks everyone, especially Rodrigo, because he, knows Big Ben's reputation, and so he's thinking that if something could tear Big Ben apart, it must be huge, and they need to get out of there. As they're trying to get away, though, something starts ramming into the boat. Eventually, the boat gets knocked over, and everybody's thrown off into the water. Dion climbs up on a tree. The rest of the group is able to climb up on top of the capsized boat. Rodrigo is injured. We see that something happened to him while he was in the water. Here's where we get Sally's nurse background kind of coming into play a little bit. She's treating his wounds, but then she's also warning the group of how serious his injuries are. They could end up being fatal. They need to get back in, to town to get him to a hospital. I guess this is kind of our first attack, although no one really, nothing happens to anybody other than Rodrigo. We're setting the stage here. We're probably trying to build some tension. At this point, I was still thinking this was going to be a really fun movie. I was ready for something to happen, but I was still thinking, it's not like it was waiting too long. It's setting the stage and doing what it needs to do. And I was, still on board thinking, all right, this is going to be a lot of fun and we're going to see how this goes. But as they're all kind of like hanging out, like I said, some of them are on the boat. This one lady's in the tree. There's a scene where something happens and like several of them fall into the water, and we get some close calls here and there where we think someone's going to die. Sistine's friend Hannah is in the water and having a hard time getting out, and so Tim gets into the water to try to help her, and then we get a very quick kill. In fact, I knew it was coming. Like you could tell the hippo was coming up behind him, um, but my dog was laying there beside me, and she was doing something, and so I reached down to kind of help her, and then looked back up, and Tim had been killed. I mean, so I know we're talking like 2 seconds, and he's dead. So I was like, oh, okay. I don't know if I missed something, but I only looked away for a couple of seconds, so that kill must have not been that great. Hopefully, the rest of these are going to be better. Um, Hannah continues to try to get out of the water. Sistine is almost able to save her, but then Hannah gets killed as well. And again, here's where I was like, okay, we're 2 kills in. We've got 2 people dead now, and I really don't feel like I've seen anything that fun. Maybe they were still just trying to set things up. I'm like, maybe this is going to continue to get better, but that was a little disappointing. Like I'd like to see more when it comes to these kills. Excuse me. So as we continue to go on, the group then ends up building this. There's gasoline there, and so they like pour this gasoline around the boat and start a fire to try to keep the hippo away. And while they're doing this, Sistine dives in the water, comes up underneath the boat to get the like the emergency locator beacon, so she can, they can try to get someone to come track them and find them. And it seems to work. Walker gets the signal. He realizes that Rodrigo and the group have not returned yet, so he's wondering what's going on, and he gets the signal of where they are. So he's out searching for them. Eventually, he finds them. Again, we just kind of get some close calls, a little bit of tension building, that kind of thing here and there. But even that's not that much. The tension's pretty minor, I feel like, in this movie. As the group starts getting into Walker's boat, Dion now has climbed down out of the tree, and now she's furious with Rodrigo. She's blaming him for all of this, even though she paid him to do this. She's blaming him for what happens, and in her freaking out and kind of going crazy, she ends up knocking Mikey into the water accidentally. While in the water, then Mikey, we do kind of get a cool scene where the hippo comes up behind him and is watching him for a minute and then attacks. But again, the attack, we don't really see anything. Like we see the hippo lunge at him, they go into the water, and that's it. So again, I was disappointed with another kill. I liked the setup, but I just thought the landing was weak because we're just not really getting anything where these kills are concerned. It's almost like, and I don't remember what the rating for this film was. Maybe I should have looked. I feel like this movie was trying to keep things maybe clean enough to where a younger audience could go see it, like teenagers, that kind of thing. But it was really hurting the movie, in my opinion, as we're going through this. Walker realizes after seeing this hippo and the size of this hippo that his little boat is not going to make it. So he gets everyone to get back up, either in the trees and that kind of thing, trying to hide. Sally, though, is devastated because now she's seen her father, Tim, get killed. She's also seen her son, Mikey, get killed. And she basically just gives up. We get a scene, and I almost feel like this is supposed to be like an emotional, like tug at your heart scene. And you do feel for what she's, been through, losing her dad and her son. But she gets into the water and just starts basically wading out. The group is hollering at her, wanting her to come back. And then she just kind of disappears into the dark, the fog and the dark in the swamp. And so we're just going to, she never comes back. So we assume she's dead. We don't know if she drowned. Did the hippo kill her? Did something else kill her? We really have no idea. But Sally is gone as well now. So again, another lackluster kill. It was going for a different effect, but it's still, I'm just like, man, we've seen multiple people wiped out now, and nothing has been that great. But the hippo ends up attacking the boats again. It bites Walker's leg. Rodrigo is starting to succumb to his injuries, but right before he does die, he is able to shoot the hippo with his tranquilizer dart, which causes it to let go of Walker, and Walker is able to kind of swim over to the shore. And then, like I said, Rodrigo dies from his injuries. So again, now we have another lackluster kill. The hippo gets up on the land and chases Walker for a few seconds there, but he's able to kind of fend it off with a flare gun. And now the 3 survivors end up getting in a boat and decide that they've got to get out of there. So they are rowing themselves to this abandoned alligator farm. So we've got Walker, we've got Sistine, and we've got Dion as the only 3 people left. And they're trying to get to this abandoned alligator farm to try to get some help. And Walker reveals that these hippos were kind of being like farmed there in this area during a meat shortage years ago. And they've all been left there. I mean, a lot of them have died off, but there's possibly tons of hippos out there in this area. Once they get to this farm, they find a baby hippo that is trapped under some like a fence thing that has fallen over on it. But then the adult hippo comes crashing through while they're looking at this, and he ends up crushing and killing the walker. Um, so another death. This one was a little bit better. I finally felt like, okay, we did something a little more here. Probably the best kill of the movie so far, and even it's not spectacular, but it was a little bit better. Um, Dion goes to climb down this ladder as her and Sistine are trying to escape. Sistine plans on starting a fire, and so Dion takes off down a ladder, and then Sistine's supposed to meet her, but Dion falls. She ends up breaking her leg, and so she's in trouble down there. Sistine has a close call with the hippo before she is able to start a fire and kill this hippo. And then her and Dion seem to escape. She's helping Dion out. They've gotten back outside now. Um, they see the baby hippo again, and Sistine is going to try to help this baby hippo, but I don't really understand exactly what was happening here. She's telling Dion to go on, and she's going to try to stay behind. I don't understand either one of these decisions, to be completely honest with you. The Dion has an injured leg. Where is she supposed to go? Is she going to get in a boat and row somewhere by herself? They think that was the only hippo and it's dead. But then also for Sistine to be like, you go and I'll stay behind. Well, if Dion is going to get help, there's only two of you. It's not like there's a whole group. So if you're going to get in a boat and try to row, two of you makes more sense than one. If you're staying behind because you want to try to save this baby hippo, then do that and both of you go. Like, I just thought this was an odd scene decision making here by both of these characters. But as she gets near this baby hippo, another hippo ends up coming and arriving, and it ends up crushing Dion against a gate before she was able to escape. So another kill that was just very mid. Sistine, though, ends up saving the baby hippo, which now this adult hippo, basically it just wants to get away since, it doesn't feel like its baby's in danger anymore. So the adult hippo and the baby hippo end up fleeing. And about that time, we hear like a helicopter arriving. And so we know Sistine is going to be saved. Helicopter picks her up, helicopter's flying away, and we see Sistine looking down, and we see these hippos swimming in the water, heading somewhere else now. So that's it. That's Hungry from 2026. This is not a terrible movie. It's fine. It just was not what I was hoping for. Uh, the runtime is short. At times, I feel like the movie, even though, I don't know, it's not like we go long stretches without something happening. But even when something happens, it's so lackluster that at times the movie seems a little bit boring, in my opinion. I was very disappointed with the kills and just the way this was executed. Uh, Again, good idea and a good concept, but just poor execution, in my opinion, for this movie. Performance is fine, character's fine, everything's okay. It's just there's really nothing special that stands out about this movie. Um, I don't, again, it's not horrible. Um, but I'm really lingering. I don't even know. I wanted to like this movie. I really did. And like I said, I'll probably rewatch it somewhere along the way. I'm tempted to say a 5, just right down the middle as far as being an average film. But I don't even know if it was average because, again, the kills were weak. I was really disappointed with this. I think on my scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Hippo a 4. Just again, very uneventful, disappointing, in my opinion, movie. I was hoping for much more. I was really hoping for a fun, uh, you know, monster attack creature feature, and don't feel like that's what I got. So I'm going to say 4 out of 10 for Hungry. If you've seen this, let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts on Hungry. If you haven't seen it, I know it's on like Amazon Prime. You can rent it there. Or, there's a few other sites like that. Maybe YouTube TV, Apple TV, that kind of stuff. You can probably rent it on those. I'll give it a rewatch at some point, but it's going to have to be free. I'm not paying for it again just to see if I would like it any better. But that's where I'm at for now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Fun stuff coming up next week. My friend Matt from Getting Off will be back. We'll be talking about Wrong Turn 4, Bloody Beginnings, as he and I are going through that franchise together. I have another live stream coming next week with Matt as well, and Isaiah from The Bitter Wolf, Mike from Mike and Serial. The 4 of us are going to be discussing the Black Phone franchise. We're going to be talking about those two movies, the things we liked, the things we didn't like, which one we liked better. We're going to be doing that live on Tuesday, the 25th at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So please join us for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Um, that horror couple will be back next week as well. We're going to be talking about 2007 Rob Zombie's Halloween as they go through the Halloween franchise with me. We've made it to the Rob Zombie stuff now, and then they'll be back again to talk about Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. So a lot of fun guests next week. Like I said, that horror couple twice, Matt from Getting Off twice, The Bitter Wolf, Mike and Serial. A lot of fun stuff coming next week. So be sure and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, Letterboxd. Just search Sean's Horror Corner and you'll be able to find all of it that way. Thank you again so much for watching. Like I said, subscribe, like, comment, share, hype. You do all those things, and I will see you soon.
Ha 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 ha!